Hi all, this is Asha Mahi and welcome to the series of educational videos. I started doing these videos because students were asking how to pass examination on certain subjects. So I started making videos on control system subject, which is also called as control engineering, and I made my explanation very straight and very simple in examination point of view so that any student can clearly understand. And in this video, you will be seeing how to plot a root locus or how to draw a root locus diagram. Because in your BTech examination, this root locus diagram will carry a marks of 7 to 14. However, in this video, you will be seeing all the steps which are involved to draw a particular root locus diagram. Do not miss any step. And to make more clear, root locus is a graphical representation to know the actual location of roots of the given characteristic equation. Okay, so by drawing a root locus diagram, you get to know that where are the roots are located, in which plane the roots are located. Okay, so don't miss it. See the video till the end, and if you have any doubts or any clarification, please do give in the comment section below. And keep supporting me by subscribing to the channel. Right. So here the question is, sketch the root locus of the system whose open loop transfer function is g of s is equal to k by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4. Also find the value of k so that the damping ratio of the closed loop is 0.5. So we have to take the given transfer function first, that is k by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4. Okay, now the step 1 is locating poles and zeros. So from the given transfer function, always the numerator are zeros and the denominator are poles. Okay, so we need to find out how many number of zeros are there. So we don't have any zeros, so it is 0. How many number of poles are there? Poles are like, you need to write the entire denominator s into s plus 2 into s plus 4 and equate everything to 0. S is equal to 0, the first one. Second, s plus 2 equal to 0, so s equal to minus 2. Third, s plus 4 is equal to 0, so s is equal to minus 4. So altogether we have 3 poles which are 0, minus 2 and minus 4. So how many zeros we have? 3. And how many poles we have? So how many zeros? We have only 0. Nothing is there because the numerator we don't have any coefficient except a k. In poles we have 3 poles which are 0, minus 2 and minus 4. So now take this one. So zeros are denoted with z, that is equal to 0, we don't have anything, and poles are denoted with 3. Now let us take the graph. I have taken side by side for your clear understanding. Divide the graph into y-axis and x-axis. Now I will take this as a center. Let me just divide the graph like this. Always the x-axis is the real axis and y-axis is the imaginary axis in the graph. Okay, and we have center 0. And obviously at the end it is infinity. Here also we have infinity, and every corner we have infinity. When you're plotting the values also, here it is like minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7. Here we have 1. I have plotted the values also. Here also we have like J1, J2 and so on. So now from the given data here, the poles and zeros, we need to represent this in this graph. Okay, and zeros are denoted with a circle and poles are denoted with a cross. As we don't have any zeros here, we are not putting anything on here. And poles we are taking, we have 1 0 which we keep it as a cross here, minus 2 here and minus 4 here. So the poles are minus 4, minus 2 and 0. Okay, so clearly those were the poles which are represented on the graph. Okay, and they are on the left side of the plane. Here we have, this is the right side and this is the left side. The center one is the imaginary. Step 2 is finding the number of asymptotes. Asymptotes are given by P minus Z, where P are the poles and Z are the zeros. So P, we have number of poles, we have 3, and zeros we have 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. So obviously we have 3 asymptotes and we have given in the graph also. Step 3 is finding the centroid. Centroid is given with sigma, and the equation for finding centroid is sum of pole minus sum of zeros by P minus Z. So sum of the poles, how many poles we have? We have 3 poles, and of course the 3 poles are, we have 0, we have minus 2 and minus 4. So the entire sum of this and minus sum of the zeros. We don't have any zeros, so 0 it is 0. By P minus Z we already got in the step 2, that is 3. So the answer is minus 6 by 3, which is minus 2. So minus 2 is the centroid as of now. So let us mark this minus 2 as the centroid. This is the centroid, minus 2. So step 4 is angle of asymptotes. Asymptotes is like taking an angle. For example, like see clearly, I have taken the similar graph here where x and y axis. So we have marked minus 2 as the centroid. So now what we are doing is, we need to find out what was the real locus diagram. Okay, location of the roots, which is not. So here we need to find out, like our centroid has come. So initially we are drawing a framework. Okay, so to easily understand, what I can say is, directly I am drawing for minus 2. I have to see like whether the angle where the things are going, because root locus, they are symmetrical. From one of the steps it is shown, it is very symmetrical. So if we get a line like this, the other line will be like this definitely. Okay, it's like a mirror base. So now we need to find out what is the angle of asymptote. So it is given with theta is equal to L plus 1 into pi P minus S. Some textbook I have seen, they replaced L with Q. Okay, so as we have 3 number of poles, let us take, we have L equal to 0, 1 and 2. Let us take 3 for assumption and find out for L equal to 0. So if we replace L equal to 0 here, it is 2 into 0 plus 1 by 3 into pi. Okay, so it's simply, it is pi by 3, which is 180. Pi is 180 by 3, which is 60 degrees. So for L equal to 0, we got one angle of 60 degrees. Now L is equal to 1. How much we'll get? For L equal to 1, we got theta is equal to 3 pi by 3, which is 180. And L is equal to 2, we get theta is equal to 5 pi by 3. Okay, so this is 5 into 180 by 3, this goes 60 times, and this is 300. So 300 degrees is nothing but, we can write as 180 plus 120, which is minus 60 degrees. Okay, so as I told, these are symmetrical. So if I keep a protractor here and I measure 60 degrees here, I will draw a line like this, 60, and obviously 180 is straight line which is going like this from this point. Okay, and because your root locus, your roots always go from 0 to infinity. So 0 to infinity will go. So this is infinity and this is 0, like that. And the third L equal to is minus 60. So this is 60, this is minus 60. So I'll draw like this. So these angle of asymptotes are 60, 180 and minus 60. As like the rough diagram, I am drawing this. So I am keeping a protractor at minus 2, which is our centroid. Okay, then I'll mark 60 here. Okay, similarly I'll mark minus 60 also. Okay, so this 60 minus 60 and 180, let me complete that. From 0 to this point where we mark 60 degrees, you take a line like this. Another one, this is minus 60 from centroid to minus 2. See, these two are very symmetrical, and that was one of the rule or steps in root locus. So this is plus 60, this is minus 60. Now obviously 180 is a straight line. Okay, we don't need anything to draw. So your application I'm doing it. This is 180. So 3 angle of asymptotes we got here. Now the real diagram, this is not a root locus diagram, this is just a framework of it. So what we'll do is, now we have to draw a diagram. Okay, actual root locus diagram, what we get. This is a framework. So this implies and tells that your root locus will lie at this point only, in this point only. See, in this point only. It doesn't lie outside of this. It lies only at this point, only at this point. Okay, so we will get another point here, and we will get another imaginary point here. We'll mix those and we'll draw a root locus diagram, and that should come inside this. This is a very important clue, very important step. You'll later get to know what is that actually. Okay, so we have drawn the framework of it. So your step 5 is to locate actual location of root locus. So this very tricky step and very simple one. Now we have drawn the framework of this like this. Now what we have to do is, we need to find out where is our actual location of root locus. So for that case, let us take 3 test points. The test point 1. We have taken first as test point A. Okay, and it is taken in between s equal to 0 and s equal to minus 2. So if this is s equal to 0, s equal to minus 2, I have taken the first test point here. Okay, and this test point I am taking as A. Okay, now we have to see whether our root locus will lie in between s equal to 0 and s equal to minus 2. So minus 2 is here and 0 is here. Okay, whether our actual root locus lies here or not. So now we have a very important step like this. We need to check the odd roots on the right side. So now the simple way I will tell you, if this is an A test point, you need to check that how many roots are there on the right side of this A. So A contains s equal to 0, minus 2. How many roots are there on the right side of this? So I will see here. See, 0, minus 2. On right side, do we have anything? So on test point A, on the right side of this, we have one pole which is 0. For test point A, towards its right side, we have one pole which is 0. So we have one pole 0. So 1 means an odd number. This has to be noted, odd number. So it is saying that if we have an odd number on right side, okay, and that part is eligible, or we can say that the root locus may appear in that part. So in A, our root locus can be anywhere in between minus 2 and 0. I'll clearly explain. Let us take the test point B in between s equal to minus 2 and s equal to minus 4. So in between I have taken another test point B. So in between these two I have taken B test point. Okay. From B you see, so here it is minus 4, minus 2, this is 0, we have taken already A, and this is B, we have taken the test point. From B you check on this right side how many poles are there. There are 2 poles, right, which are minus 2 and 0. See, from this B I am taking to the right side how many are there. There are 2 poles, minus 2 and 0, which is an even number. So if we have an even number on the right side, even roots on the right side, our root locus doesn't exist there. So it doesn't exist in this part. Now let us take a test point C. In the remaining are s equal to minus 4 and minus infinity. Of course this is minus infinity. So minus 4 to minus infinity, I have taken the C point here in this. Now see whether the right side of this, from C check the right side how many poles are there. From this right side we have minus 4, minus 2, 0. Minus 4, minus 2, 0 are on the right side. So how many are there? There are 3 poles, which is odd. So obviously odd roots on right side, this is eligible for root locus. So our root locus may appear here minus 4 to infinity or minus 2 to 0, but it doesn't appear minus 4 and minus 2. So there is also a clue. Okay, step 6 is to find breakaway and breaking points. So breakaway and breaking points tells us like a centroid. See, we have find centroid to develop a framework. Now we have to find a breakaway and breaking point so that the actual root locus x will start from that point. Okay. So I have told before. So your breakaway breaking points will be somewhere here. We'll get 2 breakaway breaking points. Then we need to check whether that breakaway or breaking points are there on the actual location or not. Then we have to start from this. So here somewhere you'll get, somewhere you'll get here. Okay, that is the actual root locus what we are drawing now, and that is given with this characteristic equation 1 plus g of s into h of s. Before that, we need to tell breaking points appear in between 2 zeros, and we have two. If we have in between 2 poles, we get breakaway point. This is a very important step. Your breaking points will appear in between 2 zeros, and your breakaway points will appear in between 2 poles. So our characteristic equation is given with 1 plus g of s into h of s equal to 0. Now we need to solve that. What is g of s into h of s? See, this is our sum, right? G of s into h of s. This is the actual sum what we get. If we don't have a feedback, we need to take h of s equal to 1. So your g of s into h of s is the actual sum what we get. Now let's do that. So if we substitute k by s into s plus 2 into s plus 4, g of s into h of s is 1. So in this characteristic equation, and if we solve, we get k is equal to minus s cube plus 6s square plus 8s. Okay, nothing but I have solved this and sent this one to 0. So after solving, I get k equal to minus of s cube plus 6s square plus 8s. This is the solution. Let the equation be 1. Now, differentiate the equation 1 with respect to it, s. Now, what we will get? So if we differentiate the equation with respect to s, we get dk by ds. This is d by ds into k. Your k is what we got here. I have given substituted here. So I have taken the minus out and I have given derivative of this. So dk by ds is minus 3s square plus 12s plus 8. Now what you do is you put dk by ds equal to 0 to solve it and find the roots. So now, after putting dk by ds equal to 0, so I have equated this equal to 0, which is in the form of a square plus bs plus c. Now the roots we know really clearly, minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Okay, I have substituted this is a, this is b and this is c. I have substituted, and as we have plus or minus, we get two roots, which is s equal to minus 0.845 and minus 3.154. Now we need to find out in the before step, step number 5, we have found out where the actual location of root locus exists in the graph. Okay, then we have found out the test point A and test point C are eligible. So test point A is in between 0 and -2 and test point C in between -infinity and -4. The test point B, which is in between -4 and -2, is not eligible. Now we'll see this one. See, minus, we get two roots, which is minus 0.845 and minus 3.154. Now let us see here. Minus 0.845 lies here. Minus 0.845 lies here, and the other root is minus 3.154. So minus 3.154 lies in the test point B, and obviously this is not eligible because our actual root locus will not exist in point B because the odd roots are even. So according to test point A, our actual root locus will exist in between 0 and -2, and that is minus 0.845 what we got. So now this is eligible. So let us mark minus 0.845 here. Okay, so it will be like somewhere here it is minus 0.845. So this is our actual root locus starting point. Okay, the 0, 1, -1, so minus 0.845. Okay, so now see carefully. We have got this framework here. Okay, and now we got the actual point which is minus 0.845. Now the angles will remain the same, 60 and minus 60, but now we don't draw the framework according to angles. We need to see the point of intersection on the imaginary axis, because if our graph is coming like this, in between like this, it should somewhere cut the imaginary axis top and bottom. So we need to find the point in between this here, which on the top of the imaginary axis and bottom of this, and we need to join those. Now we will get the actual root locus. Only one step pending. So step 7 is to find the angle of departure and arrival. But in this case, we don't need it. We don't need this step because we don't have any complex poles here. So directly we'll go to step number 8. So step 8 is the last step what we get to find the crossing point on imaginary axis. So as I told it, we need to find some point on the imaginary axis where our root locus will touch and cross it. Okay, from 0.845 root locus will start and it will touch that crossing point imaginary axis top and obviously at the bottom. So we need to find that. Okay, so for that, from equation 1, because in solving step number 6 we have taken one equation 1, k is equal to, after finding the characteristic equation, we have taken k is equal to minus of s cube plus 6 plus 8s. Now take that equation 1, okay, and try to solve it. Now I have brought everything to one side and equated to 0. Now I'll put s equal to j omega. Why I kept s equal to j omega? Because now I need to find a point on the imaginary axis. In imaginary axis, all are in the form of j1, j2, j3, like j omega format. So I need to keep s equal to j omega. I'll solve it and I'll show you. So when I put j omega, I'll put j omega like s in j omega in place of s. So I'll get this equation. Okay. As we know, j square value is -1. So try to solve it. If this j square is -1, I'll left with only j here. So j omega cube, this is -1, so 6 of -1 into omega square, and this remains as it is. Now try to solve furthermore. So if we solve it, we'll get in this format. So now I have taken this in this format because I have taken the j's as common, because I am dividing this into an imaginary part and a real part, separating it. Okay, now by comparing the real and imaginary parts, what we get, so this is the real part and this is the imaginary part. I separate it this way. So this is the imaginary part and this is the real part. Okay, now if we do this, your 8 is equal to omega square. So I have taken minus omega cube plus 8 omega equal to 0. So 8 equal to omega square. So omega is equal to plus or minus root 8, which is plus or minus 2.828 we got. Okay, the real part what we get? k is equal to 6 omega square. Okay, and omega square equal to 8. From this we substitute here. So k is equal to 6 into 8, which is the value as 48. Okay, so our main thing is we need to take the crossing point of the imaginary axis. So I am considering omega equal to plus or minus 2.828. So in this graph, I will find out where plus 2.828 and minus 2.828 on the imaginary axis. So if this is J3, this will be somewhere here. Plus 2.828 is minus J1 minus J2. So this is minus 2.828. So we got 2 points here on the imaginary axis. These are the crossing points what we did. So now what we have to do is we need to start from this point, which is minus 0.845 what we got the breakaway points. We need to start here, touch this one, okay, and go along with this line. Okay, with a free hand, very gently you need to draw this. Okay, and obviously the angle here is plus 60. Okay, so this is what we see. Now this is our actual root locus what we get. So here omega is equal to 2.828. Here omega is equal to minus 2.8. So this is the actual root locus what we will get here. So this completes the actual root locus diagram. So I am revising again. We will find the poles, zeros, the actual point where the root locus will exist. Then we will find out the centroid. From centroid, we will find the angle of asymptotes and we will draw a framework of the root locus. After we get the framework, we will get an idea that where the actual root locus will exist. Actually, on the test points what we got. Okay, the test points will get the roots on the right side should be odd and not be even. Okay, so now we got two test points here, A and C, for that is 0 to minus 2 and minus 4 to minus infinity. And then we found out the actual breakaway points which is there in the between two poles. Okay, that we got as minus 0.845 and we get another point which exists in between the second test point which is not eligible for root locus. Okay, from here then we find out the actual intersection of the point on the imaginary axis. Then we have combined those and we have drawn the root locus. So this blue line is the actual root locus. So now there is another question also in the same thing. He asked to also find the value of k. So the damping ratio of the closed loop is 0.5. Damping ratio is given with eta. So now here asked the value of k for eta equal to 0.5. So from this triangle diagram what we get, beta is equal to cos inverse eta. Okay, so beta is equal to cos inverse eta. So eta is 0.5, we have substituted that and we got beta equal to 60 degrees. Now the actual thing is, okay, now from, if we get beta equal to 60 degrees, we need to draw a line from origin, okay, keeping 60 degrees angle, okay, to root locus, and we need to find out okay, mark 60 degrees here. Now draw a line and find out where it is actually cutting the root locus. That gives the dominant poles. So from 0, okay, this is 0, this is the line. I am drawing a line like this. Okay, and this cuts exact here. Okay, now find out what is the real point here and what is the imaginary point here. So from here what I got is, I got the real point as minus 0.7 and this is around 0.9 I think I got. So it is 0.9 on the imaginary axis and on the real axis I got minus 0.7. So from that I'll form an equation as S equal to minus 0.7 which is on the real plus J 0.9 which I got from the imaginary. Okay, now I have to solve this. I will take the direct equation in the mod format, s into s plus 2 into s plus 4, okay, where s is equal to minus 0.7 plus j 0.9. Let us solve this. Okay, so after finding the real and imaginary, what we got is minus 0.7, the point below is minus 0.7, and this is something like 0.9, j 0.9. So after finding out the magnitude, we get k equal to 3. To find the magnitude, I have put the root over and square to all of them, okay, and I have found out at last the answer is k equal to 3. So this is how we need to find the value of k. So this was an additional part of our question what we got. The actual root locus diagram is over. Sometimes he may ask like this, or sometimes the question may appear to find out the actual root locus. So if you have any doubts or any comments, please do give in the comment section below, and please do follow step by step, then only you'll get to know this answer and the method of doing it. Thank you.